Welcome back to Coach-to-Coach. Today's guest is Lena Stahl. Lena is an artist and explorer of many modalities. Lena and I met recently on Jamie Smart's Clarity Coach training and just spent the weekend on Jamie's Clarity Summer Camp to wrap up this year's program. Thank you for joining us today, Lena. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So the way I like to start these off is just to ask what first sparked your interest in coaching?
Mm. It didn't directly start with coaching. It was a moment of clarity that had me realize I want to work with men. I want to support men and what they do. And that then had me started on my own journey, receiving coaching, realizing if that's what I want to do, then there is stuff I get to heal and I get to figure out about myself to come to something that feels like an authentic expression of myself.
Mm,
So that took me down a road of receiving a lot of coaching, but then also sparking the interest and learning more about it and how to directly use it to support men in their journeys.
mm, I love it. Yeah, I mean, I talk to a lot of coaches and you speak about supporting men with a level of certainty and I don't know passion that I'll say is uncommon. I mean, I know when I speak to a lot of people, they're not quite sure who they want to work with, and you seem very certain of that. So maybe you can tell us more about how it is that you arrived at wanting to support men and how you're working with men or see yourself working with them and helping them.
Mm, yeah, beautiful question. Um, I always feel like I can make up a lot of stories around that.
Mm,
I grew up with boys. I grew up in the countryside and always hung out with boys. Somehow the way they communicated was was tangible to me. Like I could understand that.
mm,
But also the freedom, the brilliance, the genius I saw in all the men, especially in my dad,
mm,
was what always inspired me. And then in 2011, I lost my dad. Um, he died in a car accident, but we believe it was a suicide just by all the circumstances.
mm,
And a year prior to that, I had received an email from him, very short, but basically just asking whether I thought he was a valuable man, whether his life had any worth still. And I mean, at the time, I didn't fully grasp it, but
mm,
now, and the longer I sit with it, and once I could kind of understand how low a man must feel to make a decision like that,
mm,
to leave life, that was the biggest impact. And losing my person, my
mm,
hero, I guess there is still a wound around that, wanting to heal that and not have any other daughter go through any of this. But
mm,
then also, I mean, I see in this world there's so many men checking out, whether that's through distraction, social media, porn, whatever it is, or like checking out of life.
mm,
Projecting that into the future is a horrible scenario. Our men are disappearing at a rate that is frightening.
mm,
So, I mean, I would want to be in a relationship at some point that can support me so I don't have to be in my masculine all the time.
mm,
So, all I'm looking for is a gateway to create more connection. And I believe it starts with the connection to ourselves.
mm,
So, I mean, I'm myself an adventurer. I love traveling. I love the extremes. I love experiencing myself in extreme situations, not for the thrill, but to see who I am
mm,
at these moments. My kind of, I don't know whether that's this is
mm,
my symbol for financial freedom, but also in general freedom. Climbing Mount Everest is not about reaching the top for me. It's about meeting myself on a mountain or in potentially life-threatening situations to really see what I'm made of. And I believe this is the kind of challenge a lot of men are missing nowadays. Everything's so digital and everything's happening in the head. But men, what I experienced, need to be in their bodies,
Mm.
need to feel powerful. And I mean, I see so many broken men just because they don't know what to do with all their energy, their intensity. And it often expresses in anger, which isn't a bad thing in my opinion, but it's they were never shown how to channel that. So I would love to take them on adventures so they can meet their anger, they can meet their intensity, they can meet all that they are and remember how powerful they are. And then get back in touch with the life they can create with that kind of power
Mm.
and carry that into their communities. And yeah, I would love to just be an observer on the sidelines and see what unfolds from this. I don't need to be an active part, but I would love to just plant the seeds
Mm.
and see what comes from it, because I believe the world is starved for that kind of masculinity.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. Well, speaking to you as a man and as a father of a son, um, that resonates with me a lot. I know, my son, he's now 19, but when he was young, like he struggled in school because of not having an outlet for the energy and you know, the the rough housing, that kind of stuff that I think is in his DNA as a man that, today's society kind of, I don't know, is either trying to um, wean out of us or put a label of it being bad or wrong, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I love where you're going with that. Sounds exciting too.
Yes.
Cool. Do you have any examples of how coaching or working with men has helped them? Maybe an example of a little adventure, either for yourself or for a client, uh, where that's had a big impact on their lives.
Um, I mean, the big impacts, I guess, are when I go on my own adventures.
Mm.
Like 2 years ago, I turned 40, and I thought in the beginning of the year it would be a nice idea to just go to South Africa by myself, go on a safari, travel around, explore a little bit. And I mean, it's South Africa, so everybody's like, be cautious, be careful, don't do this, don't do that, because it's Africa.
Mm.
And I found it to be one of the most welcoming and most beautiful experiences I created for my life.
Mm.
And while I was traveling, I was on a call with my coach, but it was just a casual conversation. And he was like, "You're afraid of something." And I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "You're afraid to jump, aren't you?" And I was like, metaphorically, maybe. And then the next day I was driving around and there was this huge billboard of the Blaugrans bungee bridge, one of the highest bungee
Mm.
bridges in the world. And I was like, universe, really? So I was like, okay, I guess I got to do this.
Mm.
And then the next day I was just going to a coffee shop and just sitting in front of his website. It took me, it felt like eternity to just click this book now button.
Mm.
And I could feel the fear coming up. And I was like, oh, I still got to drive there, but I'm so full of fear. And like all the way driving there, I was talking with my fear. I had all the tears come up and be like, why is this so scary?
Mm.
And it was like I got strapped into the harness when I arrived, and young kid, I mean, I guess he jumped a lot of times, and he was like, "So, are you ready?" Trying to chit chat.
Mm,
Like, is anyone ever really ready? And he's like, "No, but most people are lying. At least you're honest." I'm like, huh,
mm,
I don't know whether that's comforting, but thank you. And then looking back afterwards on the videos, you could see the stress in my face. I was
mm,
like, something freaked me out, but I was just surrendering to it all and just breathing. And, they then wrap the bungee cord around, and like, because your feet are tied together, you can't walk to the edge.
yeah.
So two men carry you there. Like, it's kind of funny. And then you're just dropping into nothingness.
Mm,
It was just pure joy. It was a scream of just excitement and huge release of all the tension I held in my body.
mm,
And it was wonderful to then come back around to the same kid, like taking the harness off. And I said to him, "You know what? I'm still not ready, but I've done it."
mm,
So yeah, that has had a big impact on my life. I sometimes forget that just doing things,
mm,
surrendering to the experiences, no matter how much fear there is the remedy. But yeah, in terms of working with men so far, I notice how I'm planting seeds, and men are coming back to me after years saying, like, "I didn't get what you were doing back then. It
mm,
was weird and didn't make sense, but now I get it. It
mm,
makes a lot of sense." So whatever I'm doing in this, it's basically just being me, asking probably uncomfortable questions that
mm,
stir something in the subconscious of the people around me. And I think that's the most beautiful impact. Like, I don't need to impact anyone directly and be like, "Look, I changed you."
mm,
Not about that. I believe we all have the seed of change within us.
mm,
We just often forgot how to awaken it.
mm. Yeah. I love I mean, it's a real thing that you did jumping off that bridge, but I love what it could represent as a metaphor for so many things. Even, I can see like as a coach, it's almost analogous to being that kid who's strapping you up and leading you to the edge of the jump. But it's like it's not the coach that does the heavy lifting for the client. It's the like you said, it's the client themselves. They're the ones who have to jump and experience the jump. Um, so I love that story. I'm curious if and the other thing that I got from your story was it wasn't about um, conquering fear or being fearless or an absence of fear. Like the fear, it's about doing things regardless or despite the fear. Like that fear does not have to be something that gets in your way or prevents you from doing something. You can do things with fear. That's what I got from your story too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easier sometimes, and I'm very guilty of that.
Mm,
Um, Having a lifetime opportunity, like jumping off a bungee bridge in South Africa, is a bit easier, in my opinion, to face fears.
mm,
Um, in comparison to facing my fears in my business and showing up for myself in that. It's like, oh, I can still do that tomorrow.
mm,
But it's wonderful to get an opportunity to bring that memory back and be like, oh, yeah, that fear is really just, I don't know, like a leash I put on myself
mm,
to keep me tamed in a corner, but that's not my nature. And I think this is what came up during the summer camp last weekend. I was like, I want to be all of me.
Mm,
I want to be that intense part of me too. I
mm,
don't want to tame myself anymore just to be liked and to be comfortable.
mm. Beautiful. I'm curious if you have your next big adventure planned or an idea of what that might be.
Everything currently is an adventure. Um, the situation I created for myself is adventurous in itself. And I'm sensing that my time in Mexico is coming to an end.
Mm,
I just have no clue where to next, what will happen, how things look. So right now it's a surrender game.
mm,
It's allowing for the unknown to just be there and attending to the daily things, do what I can do, following my passion, building along the way while remaining an open channel to anything that would want to come to me. I never planned to come to Mexico,
mm,
but somehow this place became home. So in a way, I'm trusting whatever I call it the universe.
mm,
Other people might call it something else, but whatever the universe has in store for me, I trust that that is the biggest adventure I can go on
mm.
and continue to surrender to that because it will help me in my own evolution.
Yeah. It's funny that I'm being reminded of the quote I think that Jamie opened the summer camp weekend with, which is a Sid Banks quote, which I'll read for you. It says, "You've got to break through the barrier of thought to find what you're looking for. And what you're looking for is what you truly are. And all you are is a cosmic thought, manifest in the form to play the game of life." And the way you talk about adventure and things like, to me, that's, you know, a true embodiment of playing the game of life is being on this adventure. So I love that.
Yeah.
If there's one thing you'd want people to take away from this conversation, what would that be?
Hmm. I think it would be a call to all men to be more courageous and share their hardships, not for the sake of pity and victimhood, but for the sake of navigating hardship. Because I think there is so many men struggling and not knowing how to speak up and not knowing how to navigate any of this. And there isn't enough tools or enough perspective on how to maneuver through a hard time when you're in the middle of it, because the whole idea of mentorship became a more distorted thing. Now we have 24-year-olds mentoring people or giving life coaching while they don't have the experience, but the elders have been silenced or just being outcast.
Mm,
So I believe there is a power in sharing stories, sharing how we manage to get through the hard times. And I mean, for me, it's especially for men, it's for everyone. And I notice that in my own sharing, whenever I'm sharing a vulnerable story, um, it seems to open doors for other people and give them a permission to share as well.
mm,
And this is when the healing happens for a lot of people. So, yeah, the power of sharing stories, no matter how ugly they might be.
yeah, love that. I've for the last whatever 4 years or so on courses with Jamie and in other groups and things, when I'm watching other people be coached, and you're in that space with them, even if what they're talking about has not like no relation to anything that you're going through personally or that I'm going through personally, sharing that vulnerable space with them having their own insights. Like I've naturally had my own, the insights that I've needed have come from watching other people get coached on their stuff. Even and I'm getting kind of I call it either like third party coaching or fly on the wall coaching. Like there's this valuable thing that goes on in an indirect way, even from just being part of other people's conversations. So yeah, I love it. If people want to learn more about what you're doing or get in touch with you, how can they find you online?
Best way is Substack at Lena Stahl. So that's the easiest way to follow the writing I started doing, expressing my thoughts around authenticity, around masculinity, around unfolding one's own potential. I mean, it's all obviously towards men, but I think it can help anyone. And yeah, that's the best way to follow me or get in touch.
Cool. Well, I'll include that link in with the video. Awesome. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I've really enjoyed spending some time with you. And yeah, the thought that's in my head is um, I don't have an answer for it right now. It's more of a question, but how can I get more deeply in touch with my own masculinity, my own manhood? Um, and are there blind spots that I haven't seen yet where uh, this conversation could help me? So thank you for that.
Thank you. I love it. Thanks for the opportunity as well.
Cool. We'll see you again soon. Thanks.
Thank you.